gone, bitch.
Recently, a chaotic incident unfolded at a Township board meeting, sparking much attention and concern, especially regarding the involvement of Supervisor Tiffany Henyard and others in a physical altercation. The brawl, which included Henyard jumping over a table in a manner reminiscent of a professional wrestler, resulted in Henyard sustaining injuries, according to reports. Henyard had attempted to secure an emergency restraining order against one of the aggressors, Brown, but was denied by the court. The situation escalated when Brown and his accomplice, LVLXJ Raymond, allegedly attacked his significant other, Camel Woods, knocking him to the floor and physically assaulting him. Henyard, attempting to intervene, also sustained minor injuries during the melee. Both Henyard and Woods were reportedly okay, though the altercation left many in shock and led to significant media attention. Despite the violent nature of the altercation, no arrests have been made, which has raised questions about the law enforcement response to the situation. In the aftermath, the trustees of the Village of Dalton issued a statement distancing themselves from the event, clarifying that the incident did not occur in their jurisdiction, and expressing disappointment over the negative attention the altercation brought to the area. This statement, released by Jason House on behalf of the Village of Dalton trustees, emphasized that none of their trustees were present at the meeting, and underscored their commitment to fostering a safe and professional environment for the community. This statement also stressed that violence and chaos have no place in their community, and that they remain committed to restoring trust, stability, and progress. Meanwhile, Tiffany Henyard's lawyer has also weighed in on the situation, confirming the details of the altercation and stating that both Henyard and Woods would pursue legal options. Following the attack, Henyard's lawyer described the encounter as a verbal assault that escalated into physical violence, with Brown and Raymond allegedly targeting Woods and engaging in a violent attack. The lawyer further claimed that Henyard sustained minor injuries when she rushed to intervene in the conflict. The entire incident has led to an ongoing discussion about the lack of immediate arrests and the overall handling of such violent altercations in public settings, particularly in governmental meetings, despite the intense nature of the brawl, including the high drama of his seemingly wild attempt to break up the fight. By jumping into the fray, it seems that no legal actions have yet been taken, which many have found perplexing. Some have even suggested that a body cam footage request might shed more light on the situation, especially given the many unanswered questions about the response of law enforcement to the violence. It's particularly striking that no one has been arrested considering the escalating tensions and physical altercations that have now occurred in the wake of ongoing disputes between Henyard, her supporters, and others like Brown and Raymond, who have reportedly had a long history of conflict. The situation has been brewing for months, with animosity between various parties growing in intensity. But this was the first instance where physical violence actually occurred. Previously, heated arguments and insults had been common, but no physical altercations had taken place. This escalation was unexpected, leaving many to wonder what triggered such an outburst. The presence of children at the meeting added another layer of dismay to the situation, with one witness describing seeing a woman holding a toddler and another child, likely under 13, in the middle of the chaos. This raised concerns about the safety of children in such volatile environments, and prompted some observers to suggest that public meetings should not involve children. As the risk of violence is becoming more apparent, there was also an acknowledgement that some people are no longer willing to attend these meetings, citing the growing volatility and unpredictability of such events. Even those who typically engage in local politics, like content creators and regular residents, are now opting to watch these events from a distance through live streams or news reports, instead of attending in person. This has led to a broader conversation about the nature of these meetings and whether the risk of violence is making it increasingly difficult for people to safely participate in the democratic process. The behavior displayed at these meetings is not new, but the level of physical aggression was certainly unprecedented. As for the cause of the fight, many speculate that The tension had been building for some time, particularly given the personal animosities between Ha and Brown. In recent weeks, the two had reportedly clashed on multiple occasions, and it seems that this ongoing tension reached a boiling point at the meeting. Some believe that if it had just been Ha and Brown involved in the altercation, it might have been resolved more quickly, as others could have stepped in to break it up. However, the presence of others in the room, particularly those who may have escalated the situation, contributed to the chaos. The meeting, which had already seen emotional arguments and heated words exchanged in the past, had now crossed a line into physical violence, something that had never happened before. This represents a significant loss of control by Ha, who, as the supervisor, should have been able to maintain order during the meeting. Her attempt to physically intervene in the fight, though understandable, only further demonstrated her lack of control over the situation. This has raised questions about her leadership abilities and whether she is fit to continue in her role, especially given the level of chaos that has now become associated with these meetings. Some are now wondering whether she will be able to regain control and restore order, or if the ongoing turmoil will continue to escalate. The failure of law enforcement to make arrests and the lack of immediate consequences for the individuals involved in the altercation only adds to the frustration and confusion surrounding the incident. At this point, it's unclear what will happen next, but it seems certain that this event will have lasting implications for both Ha and the broader community. Whether the situation will lead to legal action, further violence, or a shift in the local political landscape remains to be seen. But it's clear that the fallout from this altercation will continue to be felt for some time.
So, next on the agenda, is there a motion? So, at 7, 8, 7 and 8, we've already passed these two. We did. That's the ones we voted on. We did. Okay. So again, let me refresh your memory. This is why I always say, let me educate. So, in doing so, why I'm about to educate everybody, because everybody will always act like they know and they don't read. So let me read it for you. Okay, on September 24th, 2024, right? We, myself, Trustee Carmen, and Trustee Chris, voted to investigate every single department in Thornton Township. So, to place this on the agenda again, to act like we basically are targeting certain departments, when we said all of the departments will be investigated. There's no need to reapprove something that's already approved. And that's my point of, we already approved this. So, approving it again to do what? It's already approved. This the date, this the minutes. Y'all can FOIA it, look it up. Take a picture. So that's where it's at. So that's why I was saying those two items are already voted for. Okay, so moving on. Her question was, can they vote on something that's on the agenda? He said they can.
Yes, these two items are very specific matters that can be voted on. They are properly on the agenda, and they can certainly be voted on with a motion and a second, followed by discussion and a roll call vote.
Motion to approve item 7.
All right, so as I was stating, that's already approved, regardless of voting on it or not, it's already approved. So he said, just so you understand what the lawyer did, he just said you vote anything that's on the agenda, but it's already approved. So doing it again makes no sense, but go right ahead. I just like to point out how people target certain departments or certain people is all that is, because it's all together as a whole that we're going to investigate every single department at Thornton Township.
So, it's clear that there's a disagreement between Tiffany Ha and her lawyer regarding the forensic audit. Ha is insisting that the forensic audit was already approved back in September of the previous year, meaning no further approvals were necessary. On the other hand, the other trustees are arguing that the audit required additional approval, especially when it comes to funding and its implementation. Ha has also expressed frustration, claiming that the push for investigations seems to be selective, focusing on certain departments while ignoring others. This became a point of contention when, during an executive session, the trustees returned, and Stephanie Ween announced that she wanted the employees to be placed on leave again. But with pay, Ha found this decision troubling as it added fuel to the already heated debate surrounding the audit and the handling of the situation.
I would like to make a motion to put Kamal Woods and William Moore on administrative leave. All right, so just so you know, I'm so happy, y'all. Thank y'all for the lawsuit. But anyway, it is a motion.
It seemed like Ha was so bothered by the situation, possibly to the point where it triggered her over-the-top reaction, including jumping over the table and losing control. Even though the employees are still getting paid, I think Ha is genuinely worried about what the forensic audit might uncover, particularly regarding Kamal Woods' involvement with the Youth Director program. This may be why she went to such extreme lengths, possibly even risking a criminal charge. In an effort to stop the audit, during the meeting there was a lot of back and forth, with Ha arguing that the forensic audit had already been approved in September of the previous year and didn't need to be approved again. She didn't want to go through the process again, while the other trustees were adamant that each aspect of the audit needed further approval, particularly in terms of funding and implementation. Ha framed this push for additional approvals as political retaliation, arguing that it was a targeted attack. The growing frustration from the ongoing tension, and perhaps the feeling of being backed into a corner, seemed to culminate in her explosive outburst. It's clear that this is all tied to a series of personal and political losses Ha has been facing, with this incident being the boiling point. Additionally, his lawyer made a statement mentioning a sex offender, LVL, who had been involved in the situation. I had talked about him before in a story from 3 years ago. Back then, LVL was actually on good terms with Ha, but things seem to have changed. I'll pull up that old video from 3 years ago to give you more context in case you missed it, so you can understand who I'm referring to.
Of Dalton, what do you think about that hire?
They need to do a better job of background checking. That's awful.
Residents of South Suburban Dalton reacting to a Fox 32 investigation that found a new village employee with a dangerous criminal past.
He is a registered child sex offender, and he's now been hired by the village to go into people's homes and businesses.
Now, furious village trustees are taking steps to curb the mayor's power. Fox 32's Daniel broke the story, and he has the latest from Dalton.
What is the situation involving your background?
My background, a childhood background, over 30 years ago.
46-year-old Lavelle Redmond wasn't happy to see us when we encountered him today behind Dalton Village Hall. But listen again to the person on the phone telling him to stop talking.
30 years ago.
We don't know who that is, but we do know who got Redmond his village job. Redmond is close to new Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard and worked on her campaign. Records obtained by Fox 32 show that on September 20th, Redmond was hired as a code enforcement officer for the village of Dalton, a job that gives him access inside homes and businesses. Which is why Dalton residents were shocked when we showed them what we found online.
Oh my God. Don't they supposed to do background checks before they allow these people in these kind of positions?
One would think, right?
Yes.
That's because Redmond is listed as a child sex offender on the Illinois State Police Registry. He served 24 years of a 50-year sentence for taking part in the brutal gang rape and beating of 2 young girls in the Roseland neighborhood in 1991. News reports at the time say Redmond was one of 4 young men who kidnapped the girls and took them to an abandoned garage where they were sexually assaulted and beaten with boards and guns.
I would be terrified to know now if he had come to my house to do a code inspection. I would be terrified.
That's crazy. I don't know. He won't get in my house, though.
Dalton trustees say Redmond was hired directly by Mayor Henyard and her village administrator, former Cook County Circuit Court Clerk Dorothy Brown.
Did the trustees have any input in this hire?
No, the trustees have not had any input on any hire since the swearing in of this administration.
We tried talking to Mayor Henyard, but a police officer in front of her home told us we couldn't knock on the door. Later, the mayor issued a statement. I and the village of Dalton take the safety of our residents very serious, and we would never put our residents in jeopardy. In regard to the matter of the employee who's the subject of recent news stories, know that the incident referred to occurred nearly 30 years ago, and they paid their debt to society. We believe that a person can be rehabilitated, and we believe in second chances.
You know, I'm for second chances, but the fact that he's on the registry and the fact that he's going inside of homes, that's what caused an alarm and caused concern for me in regards to my safety and the rest of the residents.
In Dalton, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
It's pretty clear that Tiffany Ha was on the phone, telling someone to stop talking. Without a doubt, now, with all the characters involved, it's anyone's guess what's going to happen next, who's getting arrested, what actions will be taken, and what's in store for Ha. The whole situation continues to unfold as this bizarre saga involving Tiffany Ha, the supervisor of Thor Township and the mayor of Dalton, takes yet another wild turn. With the chaos that's already gone down, it wouldn't be surprising if there were charges or more lawsuits on the horizon. It's hard not to wonder, though, if there's some secret group, maybe a Facebook group, a Reddit thread, or just a private text thread where all the lawyers involved are just laughing about the insane amounts of money they're making from all this drama. You've got to think, if you're a lawyer down there, you're raking it in. Even the ones who aren't functioning at full capacity are still pocketing a good amount. Because of the constant legal battles and chaos surrounding this situation, it's truly wild. As for Tiffany Ha, it looks like she sustained some injuries, likely from slamming into a desk during the altercation or possibly from being hit during the brawl. We'll have to wait and see what more comes to light, but as always, this story continues to get more bizarre by the minute.